Hello, my name is Dylan Jeffries, and today I'm giving my speech on how to correctly explain how an AR-15 rifle in the United States is not the most used weapon in violent crimes or crimes related to other weapons. Now, there's an old saying that was used in the 1960s to the 1980s that says, "Guns don't kill people, but husbands that come home early do." Just a kind of funny sentiment, but many people in the world today are misinformed on rifle firearm statistics and how dangerous other items are to be used as weapons in America. Now, my first source is according to the FBI crime data, which is UCR-FBI.gov. According to crime data, rifle deaths are 252 per year, according to 2016 stats. Now, guns overall was 6,447, knives was 1,544, blunt objects was 437, and bare fists was 624. Now, these are all numbers of people that were actually murdered by weapons. Now, according to that statistic, rifle deaths are about half of each of those blunt objects or fists, and just a percentage of actual handguns and knives. Now, what that's saying is there's a way bigger chance that in America you are more likely to be killed by a knife or a bare fist than a rifle. Now, on my second source, total incidents with guns, according to gunviolencearchive.org, total incidents, these aren't necessarily deaths, these are incidents involved with weapons, is 16,278. Of those incidents, 4,106 were deaths, injuries were 7,253, and only 250 of those were rifle involved. And out of those, 1,000 of those kills were police officer and criminal related. Now let's start by learning what an AR-15 consists of and the differences between a pistol. Now, I've said this before and I say it a lot. AR-15 stands for Armalite rifle, not automatic rifle. This is an AR-15. This is called an AR-15 pistol. I just brought it because it's a lot smaller. It has a magazine just like a handgun would. Holds 30 rounds. Has a barrel. This is just a flash muzzle, a sight, and a stock. This is how you charge it. There's no ammo in there, so we're safe to play with this thing. That's what an AR is. Now, the reason this is so talked about is because it is scary looking. It looks like a military weapon. But when you actually do the thinking of the process of guns, this is not the most likely used weapon or object to kill someone. Now, there's kind of a cool thing, the Armalite rifle. In the 1950s, work on the AR-1, which was actually called the Parasniper for the United States military, began by using a foam-filled fiberglass stock in an aluminum barrel with a thin steel liner. Now, in 1954, Armalite was established as a division of Fairchild Engine and Airplane Corporation. The AR-1 was the original pistol build, or rifle build, that was produced from Armalite in Hollywood, California, and it later was known as the AR-10, which is actually known as the M4A1 rifle that all military use of today. Now, this is a handgun, has a magazine, a barrel. It holds 9 rounds in this one. Now this one, the reason these are so deadly is if I was to try to hide this in my shirt, it's kind of noticeable, right? But if I take something like this and put it in my pocket, it's not noticeable, right? So what people don't understand is although the rifle is big and scary, it's most likely not used during a crime. Now, let's talk about why people think rifles are more dangerous than pistols. There's a common misconception that rifles are scarier than pistols because the bullet sizes and it's more dangerous. An AR-15 is more of a sport weapon, It's used for kind of plinking, which is just a form of shooting. A lot of gun enthusiasts like them because it's fun to shoot. Pistols, people shoot those. They're really easy and cheap to afford. Bullets are a lot cheaper, but they take less training to use for a pistol. That's why a lot of times people who don't know how to use guns, they can pick one up and learn how to use it real fast, rather than a rifle that takes some training. But a lot of times people relate the AR-15 with mass shootings. Now in our country, mass shootings have happened quite a bit lately, and it is scary. But what I've found in my sources, if you go to Statista.com, and these are stats of mass shootings from 1988 to 2017, handguns killed 99 people in those shootings, shotguns 29, revolvers 23, and rifles only 43. Now, mass shootings, they're terrible, and I wish that they didn't happen, and they happen to the most random places and people, but unfortunately it's a very small part to actual overall crimes with weapons. Now, the reason that a lot of people think rifles are dangerous is because they think anybody can acquire one. Well, it's not necessarily true. The problem is with our gun laws, there's a lot of flaws. And one of my sources is from a police officer named David Burns, and we were talking about mental health. And the problem is in Iowa, if someone was to be admitted to a mental hospital in Harrison County, which is the county next to Pot County, they could still get a permit for a weapon in Pot County because of HIPAA, which is a law that protects you against finding out your medical information. That would come into play, and they would not know that you had a mental breakdown in another county. So now you have a firearm, even though you have, a mental state that's not normal for someone to have a firearm. But according to HIPAA, which is just another law that protects people, so it's kind of contradictory. It's which law actually outweighs the good and the bad, and that's the problem with. And Officer Burns went into talking about that, and it was kind of real interesting to think that that's one of the biggest problems that we have. But the biggest things that are going to deter you from getting a weapon of any kind is mental health, any kind of violent crime, and domestic crimes. Now, I do agree that gun control is a good start to reform, but it's not the only thing that can help crimes decrease and deter. Now, in conclusion, we've learned that the AR-15 rifle is one of the least ways to be harmed in the U.S., and you're more likely to die with your fists than a rifle. Now, the problem with weapons and murders, that they have a lot to do with mental health and flaws in our gun buying system than what people say. Now, the reality is that the comments that have been made are not correct about AR-15 data and about gun crimes. So when people say that rifles are the most dangerous weapon in the United States, they don't know their facts. And I hope with this speech you can understand that that's what happens, is that AR-15 rifles are actually one of the safer things you can have in the United States. Thank you for your time, and have a great night.